So we're going to continue talking about the days of darkness that's soon approaching the earth with an earthquake, a tsunami, and the days of darkness. So I just want to get into the scriptures, and after that I'm going to get into my vision. We're in the book of Isaiah chapter 10. For the stars of heaven, I'm going to start at 9. Behold, the day of the Lord comes, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give her their light. The sun shall be darkened in its going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, or witchcraft, and I will cause the arrogance of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible, and I will make a man more precious than fine gold, when he changes his elect and gives them their glorified body, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall be removed out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of the hosts, and in that day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chase roe, and as a sheep that no man takes up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every man to his own country. So I'm going to go to the book of Amos, because this is chapter 8, and I'm going to start at verse 6, and we're going to go down. And they buy the poor for silver, and the needy for a pair of shoes. Yeah, they sell the refuse with the wheat. The Lord has sworn by the excellency of Jacob, surely I will never forget any of their works. Shall not the land tremble for this, and everyone mourn that dwells therein? And it shall rise up woolly as a flood. That's like the tsunami I seen. And it shall be cast out and drowned, as by the flood of Egypt. And it shall come to pass in that day, says the Lord God, that I will cause the sun to go down at noon, and I will darken the earth in clear day. And I will turn your feasts into mourning, and all your songs into lamentation. And I will bring up sackcloth upon all loins, and baldness upon every head. And I will make it as the morning of an only son, and the end thereof as a bitter day. Behold, the days come, says the Lord, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor for thirst, but of hearing the words of the Lord. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. All right, so there we get it again in Amos, Isaiah, about the days of darkness. Now I'm going to take you to the book of Zephaniah, chapter 1, verse 15. The day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, and a day of want, wastiness and desolation, and a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and the thick darkness, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord. And their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh shall be as dung. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he shall make an even a speedy riddance of all of them in the land. Okay, now I'm going to take you to, to Matthew 16 and Luke. Okay, a wicked and adulterous generation seeks for a sign, and there shall be no sign be given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonah. And he left them and departed. That's what Christ said to you. So understand. And now I'm going to go to Luke 11 and 29. It says it again. It's paraphrased. And when the people were gathered thick together, he began to say, this is an evil generation. They seek a sign, and there shall no sign be given it, but the sign of Jonah the prophet. What is the sign of Jonah the prophet? Now let me give it to you quickly. Now the Lord had book of Jonah, verse 1. Chapter 1, verse 17. Now the Lord had prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. So you're going to be in 3 days of darkness, 3 days, 3 nights. That's the sign. The land is not going to give her light for 3 days, 3 nights. It's a punishment from the Lord. So, okay, I hope you get that. Now we're going to go to Joel. Oh, I did Joel already. Yeah. We're going to go to the book of Zechariah. And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong one. Ezekiel. Sorry, I'll get there. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 32, verse 7. And when I shall put thee out, I will cover the heaven and make the stars thereof dark. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. And all the bright lights of heaven will I make dark over thee, and set darkness upon thy land, says the Lord. And I will also vex the hearts of many people, when I shall bring thy destruction among the nations, into the country where thou hast not known. Yeah, I will make many people amazed at thee, and their kings shall be horribly afraid for thee, when I shall brandish my sword before them, and they shall tremble at every moment, every man for his own life in the day of thy fall. All right, let me continue. So I'm going to go to the book of Revelation, okay? And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of heaven fell onto the earth, even as a fig tree cast her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. All right, so there are many more scriptures about the days of darkness, but I'm just going to stop you there. I think you get the point. This is not, and I'm going to go into my dream about the day of darkness, and then I'm going to go into a quick one about the tsunami. So I had this vision on March 20th, 2019. Okay, I was walking down the street on the sidewalk, and while I was walking, everything was normal. Then a woman said, "It's a blackout. It's a blackout." So I looked over to the stores that was beside me, and then all the lights shut off, and then the street lights shut off, and the store's lights shut off. And I was still walking. Then the GO train came down the street. It came on the street, on the sidewalk. It came down the street. It was literally driving down the street, heading in my direction with big, bright lights. Then a woman grabbed me, and then I moved out of the way, and a woman kind of grabbed me as well. Like, she didn't know I was going to do it. And I kind of moved out of the way because it was charging in my direction. When I was pulled out of the way, I was in the entrance of a store, and there was a white curtain that covered me and this woman that blocked off the entrance. And when I got there, a lady was crying. She was fearful, and she had a weave in her hair, and she had her sides of her hair shaved. And she was very crying, and she was screaming, and she was fearful, with her hands covering her face. So she had her both hands on her face, like one on her left cheek and one on her right cheek. And she was just like, ah, ah. She just was in a panic. And I said to her, "Why are you crying?" And she kept crying. Then I put my hands on her shoulders, and I told her, "The Most High God, which made the heavens and earth, will protect you." And then she just nodded at me. She was just nodding at me. And I'm like, okay. And then I looked outside the curtain. I'm sorry, I'm reading. So I looked outside the curtain, and the lady who was crying came out from behind the curtain, and a lady was screaming, "He's here! He's here! Jesus is here!" Then I looked up, and I saw a cloud, a dark,